This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. I hope you're well. Yeah, let's get the Christmas music out. This is the last episode before Christmas and of the year. I'll touch on that later on, but I just wanted to say thanks for tuning in to the recent episodes. There was the Lionesses review, the one where they narrowly missed out on the Nations League finals qualification. The Euro 2024 draw episode, where I just looked back on that and also who I thought we could play pre-tournament. And then most recently, the episode where I spoke with Matt Tiller about his book, Jack Leslie, The Lion That Never Roared. All of those are available at your podcast provider of choice, or indeed, threelionspodcast.com. Incidentally, that book, Jack Leslie, is great. It is one well worth putting on your Christmas list, if it's still not too late. In fact, there's been a few books over the year that could be worth putting on your list. So, on to this episode. I'm pleased to say it's another in the Your England Journey series. You may remember, over the year, I've been speaking with England fans about how they came across England and the journey that they've been on over the years. The highs and lows, thrills and spills, laughter and tears. I've already spoken with Matt Freeman, Deck Welsh, Bristol fan Matt, and now it's the turn of Stuart Franklin. If you'd like to get involved and share your anecdotes and memories, then just drop me a line. It's exactly what Stuart did. I'm on social media, just search Three Lions Podcast, or you can email me, threelionspodcast@gmail.com. Three, spell it out, T-H-R-E-E. It is always great to hear from you. Now, there's good times, sad times, there's fun times, but they are your times. Welcome to the Three Lions podcast. Blackburn Rovers and England fan, Stuart Franklin. Hello, Stuart.
Hi, Russell.
You well?
How are you? Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Always good to get a fellow fan on and talk England. This feature is just telling us your England journey from your words, all your sort of stories and anecdotes that you might have of following England over the years. So tell us where it all began for you.
Okay, yeah. So I was 6 years old, actually, when I first saw my first England game. Right. Not live, unfortunately. I don't live local to Wembley, but my stepdad was a big football fan when I was growing up. And he didn't really have a club side, but he always watched World Cups. Oh. So they were always on the TV. So as you do, you look up to your father figure. And I just obviously was sitting with him and seeing Gary Lineker banging in goals to ultimately put us through the group stage. So that was the my first memory of watching an England game.
So is this 86 or 90?
This was 1986, yeah.
Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, because they were late night matches. So, as a kid, as you do, staying up, any opportunity, stay up.
I've got a daughter like that.
Yeah, same. So that was my first memory. I don't remember a lot about that World Cup.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking this is great, and we watched it as a family, because I have an older brother. And he was big into football, and I didn't really get it at the time because you're still a kid, aren't you? And don't know what to make of it, kind of thing. But that was where it first started, and I remember seeing the quarter final, I just remember little bits, and I can remember Maradona. Obviously, he did what he did, but at the time, as a 6-year-old boy, I just was like, "Wow, this guy is amazing." As the years have gone on, I obviously I understand the rules a bit more, and so quickly turned from somebody I admired to somebody I didn't particularly like at all.
I think from a footballing perspective, though, he was just one of the best, though, wasn't he? I don't think we can dispute that.
No, I mean that second goal was just amazing, wasn't it? And will constantly be shown for generations. Just unbelievable talent, wasn't it? Flawed genius, as they called him.
Yes.
Yeah. But after that, I think what happened was, I recall 1988, but obviously we didn't play very well in that tournament. But at this point, I was watching England quite regular.
Right.
And then it led into the next World Cup. And that was where I really just watched every single game of the World Cup. I can remember every single England game, even as a 10-year-old. So that was where really the love affair properly began.
I don't think you're alone there. 1990.
Yeah. I think we're pretty similar ages, Russell. So
we are, yes. I've got fond memories of 88 for strange reasons, but 1990, he's one of those ones, like you say. It was on at a suitable time for UK viewers, and England were doing well. It just captured everyone's imagination, didn't it?
It did, and I think the players as well. You could just resonate with the players
very much, yeah.
So there was that. You just had that respect of everything that they achieved. And I think it did sort of come out of nowhere after 88 as well, because it was such a disappointing campaign.
Yeah.
So for us to overachieve was just phenomenal, and we thought it was the first of the false dawns, as they say.
Yeah,
we were thinking that something special was going to come after that point, but unfortunately, as is always the case, it never materialised. Unfortunately,
no. It took us a little while before we really got going. I mean, a few years we're talking, really, aren't we? After that,
yeah. I mean, we had a good side towards the mid 90s with Terry Venables and Glenn Hoddle. But we weren't particularly great under Taylor. We had a lot of injuries and just playing the wrong players. The balance wasn't right. We lacked creativity really under him, didn't we? So
with the greatest of respect to the likes of Carlton Palmer and Andy Sinton.
Yeah, Earl Barrett and
yes,
all these players. You know,
well, we could go down a rabbit hole there, couldn't we?
Definitely. But yeah, I mean, obviously I felt under Terry, we began to build an identity again, and you know, he allowed the flair players such as Anderton, McManaman, Barmby, you know, introduced these phenomenal talents. Well, I say phenomenal; they were good players, weren't they? And they were entertaining.
Yeah,
it's probably the best way. So, which we didn't really have under Taylor, unfortunately. But after that point, obviously, as growing up, I began to obviously start working at university. I was at uni, really in my early 20s, and it really began for me. Going to watch England off the back of Euro 2004.
Okay.
So we went on a lads' holiday, and it was me that was the main driver of when we went on that holiday, because I knew when the tournament was going to be on, and I thought it'd just be a really good laugh for me and my mates to go and see some live matches, especially as England had qualified at that point.
So this lads' holiday, was this in Portugal?
It wasn't. No, it was actually in Kavos.
Okay.
Corfu.
Yeah.
I got Get that right. So yeah, so it was nice, and weirdly enough, Greece went on to win that World Cup.
Yes,
Euros, and yeah, so the atmosphere was, they were buzzing over there, and yeah, it just captured our imagination really. And I remember because one of my friends, I went to school with him from a very young age. I think we met when we were about 4-5 years old, so we've been friends for a very long time.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other and we said, how amazing would it be to go and see England in Germany in the next World Cup?
Right,
and yeah, we both said that we were gonna start the journey together. And as soon as I got back off the holiday, really, it was straight on the internet. How do I follow England? And this is where I'd found that there was a supporters club. Obviously, at this point as well, England were playing on the road.
Yes, because Wembley had been knocked down.
Yeah. So it suddenly become accessible because Manchester being not too far away, and we were playing a lot of games in Manchester and Liverpool. We also went up to Newcastle in that campaign, so we did our fair share of travelling. But so yeah, we just started going to the games. My friend didn't join the membership, which was, at the time I was like, wow, well, how can I do this on my own?
Yeah.
The first campaign, I didn't go away. It just wasn't doable on my own. I wasn't sure how I'd meet people. So there was a little bit of lack of confidence there, really. But then, as luck had it, I had very few caps, but I managed to secure a quarter-final ticket in the ballot.
Okay.
And you may remember this because I think you were part of the membership back then, because I know you've been following them for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, so, I've been around for a little while. Yeah.
So it was crazy. It was just like it is now. There was so many members. It got to a point where they actually capped the membership.
Yes.
So everybody wanted to do Germany just like they do next year. So there was a lot of members, and it was difficult even getting tickets to away games. So to actually get a quarter-final ticket was just, I felt like I'd won the lottery, So, but that was it. Then I was going, even though I'd only got this ticket on my own, I was going no matter what. But I thought, it'd be great to just go out there, really, just spend a couple of weeks out there and take in as many games as I possibly could. So at this point, and you're probably very much aware of this, they had the England fans forum,
Yes.
which was very popular at the time, and there was a lot of people that used to get on there, and you'd sort of get to know people virtually. So what happened is, look at it. We were all going on the FIFA website trying to get tickets. We were all notifying each other saying, the ticket's on sale now. And I just didn't seem to get the luck whenever the time came. I started to get other games pick up, the likes of Ghana versus the USA. So I thought, I'm over there for 2 weeks. It'd be good to take in a few games. But what happened was, there was a guy who was living out in Germany. I think I try and recall his name was Michael Woodford, I think his name. And he messaged me and he just said, I'm seeing these tickets regular. He'd already got tickets to every single round. And he was helping others to get tickets.
Nice.
So just genuine supporters club member who, didn't know him from Adam, but I gave him my card details, just sort of trusted that he'd do the thing. Yeah. And he did. He got me a second round ticket.
Fair play.
So that was amazing. And every time I sort of speak to him online or anything, I'll just say, next time I see you, I'll buy you a drink. And this has been the case for the last sort of 20 odd years. I did meet him actually in Germany, and I did buy him a drink, but he often responds with, if I took a drink from everybody who I got tickets for, I'd be drunk every single. So.
Wow. That's a lot of work he put in for people, and a lot of credit card details he's probably got on everyone.
Yeah, definitely. but salt of the earth guy, and
Great
yeah.
stuff.
So that made that tournament all the more special because then I was seeing a couple of games, and yeah, I mean, we weren't great in that tournament, to be fair, but it was great to finally experience a World Cup in person.
Yeah.
And that's where friendship started through the membership, really. Yeah, so funny story that happened. Well, it wasn't so funny at the time. I can remember it was very stressful. I'd actually booked accommodation. I was going to do World Cup camping, it was called.
All right.
Yeah, so I'd booked this campsite, paid the guy in full. That was part of the deal. And what happened was, it was a case of I needed to call him as soon as I got there. And I had this brainwave. I wasn't going to use the flight that I booked. I was going to now get on a coach and go out to the Sweden game, England-Sweden.
Right.
The plan was to try and get a ticket to that game and then go straight to the camp afterwards. I arrives, jumps on this coach with Matt Edgar, who's a friend who was putting on coaches from Derby, so not too far away from Stoke-on-Trent, so very doable. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't mind you just jumping on one way, but you have to understand you've got to pay the full price because I've got seats going spare. But
yeah,
obviously you need to pay the same as everyone else," which I completely understood. But when I got over there, I could not get in touch with this guy, the guy who ran the camp. He gave me this number and it just didn't ring. So my heart just sank. What am I going to do? I've got no accommodation. I've wasted all this money. So then I had to flip it very quickly and change it to plan B. And that was to just do coaches out there in and out.
Right.
So I lost a lot of money there, and also I couldn't attend the games that England weren't playing, so I'd lost money there also. So it was a naive mistake on my part, really. I've learned a lot since then. Never to trust people. If something looks too good, don't always question it, I would say. But yeah, I mean, that was the one sort of bad experience, but everything else during that tournament was fantastic until we went out on penalties.
Which was so the Gelsenkirchen, the Portugal game in Gelsenkirchen, that quarter final. Was that your first England game, or did you say you got tickets for the Sweden game?
I didn't get tickets for Sweden. The prices were astronomical. The touts were obviously, they knew how many England fans were over there. So I think the cheapest tickets were about £500 for a dead rubber as well, because we were already through at that stage.
Yeah.
So I just went over there and watched it with the fans, really, on a nice bar with big screen. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, my first game was actually the second round game when we played Ecuador.
Ecuador, yes, yeah.
Hot day in Stuttgart, I believe. Yeah,
I remember. I didn't go to that one, but I do remember people saying that it was incredibly hot that day. That was Beckham scored very early on, was it? I think.
Yeah, he did. He scored it down our end, actually.
Right.
So we were I was behind the goal. I was sat between, because got it through FIFA. I was sat next to a Switzerland fan who'd gone out the night before, and a German fan to the left of me, and that was interesting because I'd never done that previously. So yeah, I mean, it was great. My last memory of that particular day was it was so hot during the day. On the way home, the heavens opened and it was the most hideous storm you've ever seen. I mean, thunder. It was that bad in terms of raining. It was sort of, we were on the coach and you could see the water it was like a river had formed either side of the coach. So it was interesting. The sort of weather broke, but it was red hot that summer. I know you attended Germany, didn't you?
Yeah, I stayed in Leipzig. We had a ticket for a game in Leipzig, and then we sort of motored around from there for a few to a few places, fan parks and that. But I didn't spend a great deal of time in Germany. No. I was probably there for about 4 days in total. Okay. It's one of those times when I had other things going on in life that couldn't afford to do everything that I'd wanted to, put it that way.
Yeah, I completely understand that, especially at the minute.
So Germany came and went. Where did you go from there?
So obviously I started to make friends, and this was it. Then I was fully in, and I started to do away games. So when this was now the McLaren era, and I did quite a few away games, which I think it got to a point actually where we actually were looking at each other and saying, I don't think we're going to win this game, because we were dreadful away from home in particular in that qualification process, and which ultimately cost us, cost of the qualification. We dropped silly points away in Israel. I went to the Russia game.
Okay.
So that was an eye-opening experience, but it was one of those things, because obviously we're of the same generation, Russ, and you just could not visit Russia in the 80s because of the Cold War, and so it was, oh wow, if we're going there, I've got the opportunity, I'm going to attend it. So I spent nearly a week out there, and it was just an amazing experience. It's one of them things with England, isn't it? I think most people like traveling, and it's a reason to travel and see these places. So, I mean, it was really good, and you make friends along the way. I met friends over there. One thing I quickly realised was you're never alone when you're following England. There'll always be somebody in the same boat as you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So made a lot of friends throughout the sort of 20 years of being a member, really. There's a lot have come and gone through, no faults of their own, having families, etc. But just some amazing experiences to look back on, and with fondness, really. Maybe not the football, though.
No, that's the thing. If you combine the travelling with the football and going to some of these just slightly different places that you wouldn't generally think of going to, it's such a great opportunity. And as you say, mix it in with meeting new people from all over the country. It's just excellent. And it's, I say, we've all got that sort of similar mentality, and it's great.
Yeah, definitely.
So definitely. Did you make it to the next World Cup? Because obviously you got there to South Africa.
I did, yes. So it was a bit of a strange time for me, actually, because I actually went back to university to do my teaching degree.
Okay.
So went on. Well, it's known as the PGC. So it's a tough year in the sense, but it's a difficult one because it doesn't really correlate well with following England, because a lot of the matches are on during term time, and same with tournaments. And but actually, as it happened, we were finishing the course on the day that the World Cup started in 2010. So it was a case of, wow, we just got through a really tough year, because you work as well as study. You teach full time as well as studying. So it was a difficult year, but it was my motivation to get through the course and succeed, was to go to South Africa in the summer and have that thing to look forward to. So yes, we attended, but we only went out for the knockout stages.
Right. I was going to say, because wasn't our first game against the States, that was almost one of the opening games, I think, wasn't it?
It was, and a friend who I travelled with actually went out just for the one game. Alan Riggle, his name is. He's right. He's a Yorkshire lad, but he flew out. He'd won some competition.
Nice.
Yeah, so managed to see that game, and then we came back, and and nothing went to plan in that tournament. We finished second in the group. I remember Green's mistake against the States ultimately cost us. We were terrible against Algeria, weren't we? But managed to scrape through on that last day. But we booked everything thinking we're going to win this group. This is the easiest group going. Oh God, that I learned a lot of lessons from that booking. That never to be so trigger happy and think England are just going to walk it because anything but. So yeah, we had to again flip it to Plan B, and Alan went out to South Africa. And I had to organise renting a car, booking new hotels in the new cities that we were going to be going in now, the routes, as we'd had tickets all the way. But obviously our flights were booked for Johannesburg. So we had to go and get this hire car and travel all the way to Bloemfontein, which is in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
It took us pretty much the whole of the sort of day. So we get there the day before we're due to face Germany on the Sunday. So we get there Saturday night. 24 hours later, we were out.
I shouldn't laugh. But...
well, if you don't laugh, you cry, don't
That's
you?
very true.
But yeah, so that was another experience for in the future. Make sure you go to at least one group game.
So were you, whereabouts in the ground were you for that Germany game? Were you at the end that clearly the ball went over the line, or the other end?
We were the other end, but we could actually see that it had gone over the line. Everybody could see it except the guy in the middle of the park.
The guy in charge.
Yeah. I think that would have masked things, though, Russ. We were not good in that game. We didn't play well. We had a good 10 minutes. Obviously, we know goals change games, but I mean that just would have been masking what was not a great tournament for us. I still recall Rooney when he had that verbal spat at the camera in the Algeria game, and just loss of sense of reality in the sense that people are spending a lot of money to go the other side of the world. So obviously they were going to be frustrated. So yeah, that probably epitomised that World Cup. Really, I think we were so disjointed, which was a shame.
Yeah,
at least. So, did you manage to go to that World?
No, yes, no, I was there. I was there for the Algeria game.
Wow.
That was the only England game I got to in that tournament that I got tickets for. But I got tickets for a few other random games, like Chile against someone, and Australia played someone at Rustenburg. But yeah, it's like you say, it's one of those tournaments where it just didn't really click for us.
No. The weird thing about that, though, is we qualified so impressively, didn't we?
Well, that's the thing. We seem to do that for generally most tournaments, just like take into account our most recent qualification campaign for Germany next year. It's almost that sort of false sense of optimism just through the qualification. But I mean, hopefully this time we've got a justified reason to think that.
I agree.
We're going to do well.
We've got a goal scorer in Harry, haven't we? I think
we have. Yeah, we've just got a good all-round team. I think at the moment in every department.
From world-class players in Saka and Bellingham who just stroll into any team in the world. So it's quite like you say, the optimism's there, and maybe this could be the generation. I just hope we turn up.
Let's hope so. I mean, just in the time that we've got left in between 2010 and now, obviously we had the semi-finals in Russia and the final back home here. Were they games or tournaments that you were at?
I didn't go to Russia.
Right.
I'd actually been to France in 2016, and at this point, I've married my wife Laura, and we have a young daughter. So at this point, my daughter was actually 3 years old, and I'd been to France, and I was there in Marseille when all the trouble kicked off.
Yeah.
My wife had seen the game on TV and seen the Russian fans attack the fans who got tickets through UEFA, who were England fans. And I think that really scared her. So she didn't want me to go. She didn't tell me not to go, but she asked me. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can't put you through that. Obviously, we did fantastic. And that was really the start, wasn't it, under Gareth? I did, though, go to all the games at Wembley for the Euros, with the exception of Czech Republic.
Okay, yeah.
So as you probably, well, you went to those games, didn't you? So
yes.
We had our allocation cut down crazily, didn't we? Which meant we all had to go back into ballots based on your caps. But the Czech Republic game was the one game that they'd given so many tickets to the NHS.
Okay.
Great work that they've done.
Yes.
So, which meant that I just missed out. I'd got the game originally, but looking back, I actually gained the second round game because provisionally that was supposed to be in Dublin, but they moved it to Wembley. So I didn't have that ticket originally, but managed to get that for the second round. So I gained the better game.
You gained the Germany game, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. So, and what a game that was.
Amazing game. That was one of the better games in recent years in terms of atmosphere, I think. And then you think actually Wembley was half full that day.
Yeah. Do you think it was half full though?
Wow. There were a few seats spare, put it that way, but I think officially that it was about 50,000 or something.
Yeah. It was amazing atmosphere. It just felt like we couldn't believe what was happening. Played so well.
Yeah, and still we have a song to remember that day by now with Harry Kane.
Yeah, exactly. The Denmark game was also a really great atmosphere as well.
Yes.
That was so special because England don't win semi-finals. So to finally win one.
Yeah, that was one of those strange moments. I still think that the Denmark game, coming out of there, just not really knowing what to feel. It was like, actually, we've just won a semi-final. We're in a final now. How should I be feeling?
Yeah, exactly. I think it was just then, how are tickets going to come in? And, but I felt like, I know you did a podcast with the supporters club, and I just thought they did an amazing job through that Euros. The logistics must have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
And they were never going to win. There were always going to be people who were unhappy, not satisfied, but they did it the fairest way they could. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have gone to that tournament or any of the games, so they do get a bad rep, don't they? They do get a lot of abuse online, but I think a lot of that is just out of frustration of people not getting the tickets.
Yes. Yeah, we wouldn't be anywhere without them, put it that way.
Exactly. A lot of the work that must go on behind the scenes, it's a thankless job, and
it's what we don't get to see.
Exactly. So, but so that's my journey, Russ. I'm hoping, touch wood, in next year that it culminates in a trophy.
Wow, I think we're all hoping the same. And well, regardless, we should catch up again and sort of extend that journey onwards and see how you see your feelings on that tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. May see you at the Malta home game, perhaps.
Yeah. Are you upper or lower? Do you know?
We're low. We've just been moved. Actually, we were the other side of the ground, but they've moved us to block 118.
Oh, okay.
But in the lower tier. So that'll be it's not. There's nothing on the game, but it's always great to see England.
And one thing with with fans such as yourself who come from up north. We Southerners don't know how easy we have it, really.
Yeah. It's commitment, isn't it? And it's following the team. But yeah, I mean, thanks for having us on anyway, Russ. And yeah, maybe we'll catch up at either a home game or an away game in the near future.
Look forward to it. Stuart Franklin, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Russ. You take care.
Thanks to Stuart there. You know what? Really enjoy just having a chat with you guys, listening to your stories. Hearing players' stories is all good and well, but generally, we've kind of heard them all before. These stories, I feel that as fans, we can just all relate to, can't we? Thank you very much for tuning in over the year. It's been a busy one. Every year I look at what's coming up and try and think what interests me and what I think in turn you'll be interested in too. So including this episode, I've released 56 across the year. Genuinely wasn't anticipating that amount. Obviously the Lionesses making the World Cup finals increased that somewhat. But looking ahead to 2024 and England at the European Championships in Germany, and there's a chance I'll do a similar amount. I've already got a few in mind and also some already pre-recorded ready. But just reflecting on 2023, if you've listened to just this one, or if you've listened to half a dozen, or indeed all 56 of them, then thank you. It means a lot and makes it all worthwhile. Likewise, all of those that have joined me for a chat and shared your knowledge, thank you too. It wouldn't be what it is without you guys. So if you want to go back and listen to them again, feel free to. Or if you've missed some, there are plenty to choose from. In fact, I was just scrolling back through them. There's a couple in the England Manager series, Graham Taylor and Terry Venables. I really need to continue that one next year. Still plenty of managers to cover. I spoke with Paul Letters about his time at the Qatar World Cup. Go and have a listen to that one if you missed it. Asa Fogelberg. I chatted with her about her self-written book, 3 Lions and a Kitten. That's a good one for a Christmas present if you're still searching. Then there was the episode where England nearly went on strike. I enjoyed doing that one. Episode 286, if you're looking. So I'll leave it there. Wish you a Merry Christmas, however you spend it, and all the very best for the new year, 2024. Let's hope that finally it's a year. Come the 14th of July, we'll all be celebrating. So until 2024, take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.